So let's take a look at what a decision matrix is. A decision matrix is a systematic and structured tool used to evaluate and prioritize a set of alternatives based on a predetermined set of criteria. It's particularly useful when faced with complex decisions that involve multiple factors, and it helps individuals or teams to make informed choices by quantifying and comparing the various options. Here's how it works. Firstly, identify the criteria that you want to use. Determine the key factors or criteria that are relevant to the decision. These could be cost, time, feasibility, quality, and other relevant considerations. Then you want to think of the weighting system. So assign weights to each criteria based on its importance or priority in the decision-making process. The weights reflect the relevant significance of each criteria. Next, of course, we want to have a look at our list of alternatives or options. Then it's time to actually score each alternative. We evaluate and score each alternative against each criteria. This is often done on a numerical scale, such as 1 to 5 or maybe 1 to 10, with higher scores indicating better performance. Then what you're going to do is calculate those scores. Multiply the scores by the assigned weights and calculate the total scores for each alternative. This helps in quantifying the overall performance or desirability for each alternative. And finally, select the best option. The alternative with the highest total score is considered the most favourable based on this established criteria. Okay, let's go ahead and try this for our example of trying to decide which project management software to choose. Hey team, so I overheard your discussion. It seems like you have quite a few considerations and need help making a decision. As a Scrum Master, perhaps I can help guide you to settle on a decision. Have you ever used a decision matrix before? It will help you to objectively evaluate the options.
Sounds fair. Let's try it. And I think we have our criteria. Let's include cost, user friendliness, features, and customer support.
That might work. We'll have a quantitative way to compare the options.
So let's assign some weighting to those criteria based on their importance. So out of 100, let's say that cost is really important to us, so we'll give that 30%. When it comes to user friendliness, let's say that's 25% because that's also important, but not as important as costs. Features is equally as important to us as costs are, so we'll give that 30% as well. And the customer support, let's say that that's 15%. So those percentages indicate how important those different criteria are to our team. So let's put this into a matrix, which might look something like this, with A, B, and C being the different software products available to us that we're considering. Then what we need to do is actually add our scores to this matrix. Now, there's perhaps two ways to do this. You can either discuss it as a team and have one person as the scribe who actually writes in the weights into the matrix. Or another way that you might want to do it is to give each team member a version of this matrix and they all fill in what they think anonymously, and then you come together and discuss the results. The advantage of that, of course, is that you avoid that group think. Okay, let's say that the scores look a little bit like this. Let's just take the cost line, for example. Let's say that this is an easy one because option C is basically the cheapest, so we give that a 5. Rating user friendliness might be a bit subjective, so you'll have to do your best there. And when it comes to features, you might want to rate it based on the amount of features that it has or the particular features that you know that you're going to use. Does that software product actually have certain features that you know that you need? Now, if it does, then you would rank it highly. For example, if option B has all the features that you know that you need, then you might give it a 5. Finally, the customer support option. Well, is there much customer support? Can you get in touch with people? Is there that user forum? In other words, an active user group where people are posting up their issues and actively getting help from it. Okay, that's how the matrix is filled out. The next thing to do is to calculate those scores. Now, this is just a simple matter of multiplying the scores by the weighting and then adding each one up together to give you a final score. I'll put the calculations on the screen here. I won't go through each of them. You can have a look at that if you want to pause the video. Ultimately, what we can see is option C came out at the highest at 4.2. Therefore, according to the decision matrix, option C has the highest total score and therefore would be the recommended choice for the project management software based on the specific criteria and the weighting that we chose. This is really useful in an organization because you can then show to senior managers that you've made a logical and calculated decision on which one to use. You can actually use this to back up the decision that you've made. Okay, that's it for the decision matrix. It's a really simple concept and it's a really useful tool. Thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe. And if you want to learn more about management, see my website, learnmanagementonline.com, where you'll find my courses on there for a discount. You can also find me on Udemy, of course, as a multiple bestseller for Scrum and project management courses. Just search for Michael James and get your Scrum certifications.